So here in Pascal, or for any programming language, the thing is you have to know the syntax of the programming language, and you have to know the reserved words of the programming language. So you should be aware, or you should remember the reserved words of the Pascal. To write a program, we just use program here. This is a reserved word. So after the program, you have to put your own name for the program. So the first program, I will design a simple program to input a name, input the first name and the last name, and to combine this, that as full name and display. So my program will be full name. The name will be full name. I just want to teach you the style of the Pascal method program actually. So here I should put input and output. It's output. Actually, this statement is not compulsory. You can have it as commented like this also. If you commented it, it won't run. But we usually use this statement also. The most important one is var. Here you have the you have the reserved word to create new variables. It is the var. So you have to use that variable. And for this program, I need to store first name, last name, and the full name. So I just write the first name here, first name. It's the first name. Then I need the last name, L name, and I need the full name. I will write it as just F name. So this is the data type of the variable. It is known as string. We use string data types to store the string or text type of values, because here you have text values, all names, and you need to have these text values to create as a string, variables. So here you have full name, program full name. This one is known as an identifier. Identifier is a name used by the programmer to recognize values and the program. Even these variable names also known as identifiers. You have some rules or syntax for that identifiers. You have rules for that identifiers also. The full name, first name, L name, and F name, they can be in both simple capital. It's not a problem. It is not considered as a case-sensitive language. Pascal is not a case-sensitive language, but you have to start an identifier with a letter, English letter, simple or capital English letter. After that, you can have English numbers, and also the only symbol you can have this underscore. If you want some space, you can't put just spaces. You have to use this underscore symbol, and you can't start with a number. You have to start with the letter. After that, you can have numbers also. Name 1, name 2, name 3, you can use something like that. And the other hand, you can't use these reserved words for your identifiers also. It is prohibited. So then once you have your variables created or variables declared, once you have your variables declared, what you can do is you can create the main program. It's starts with begin and ends with end. You have to put a full stop here. That's a syntax. In between begin and end, you write all the program statements. For this program, you need to take inputs as the first name and the last name. So I should tell the user to type your first name and type your last name, and the program should take that value and store in these variables. Then it should combine the two names and display it as a single name. So that's what we are going to do. So to do that, you have to use write command here, and the within brackets it's a function. So write means you can use write in Pascal to write something on your console or on your screen. So write input first name, input first name, input first name. Then once you type this one, this will be displayed on your screen and the user will input a name. So you have to capture that one to your variable. We need to use read line for that, and first name here. Write line input first name and read line first name. Then also we have to do the same thing for the last name also. So write input last name. So input last name and read line L name here. So now we have to add those names as F name. So F name colon equal first name, first name plus. Even the plus is a mathematical operator, but we can even use the plus to connect to strings also. Strings mean text-based variable values. Also we can connect. So L name. So the user inputs, we add them. Also we need semicolons here, otherwise it will be a syntax error. Then we write line. Once we have the F name, we write line to display the F name here, and then we put the semicolon here. So this is the program I have created. Then I need to compile it. Compiling means converting the program into 1 and zeros to the machine language. The Pascal uses a compiler known Pascal's translation program is the compiler. So you can see it's a Pascal compiler here. So the Pascal's translation program is a compiler. The meaning of the compiler is that compilers compile or translate the program at once. You have all the codes at once. You have 10 codes here. If you are using a compiler to translate the program, all of these codes should be correct. If you have anything, any problem like this, now I have removed that semicolon, you will get the compilation error. Compilation failed due to following errors. So you have to have this one, and you can run. Then it is successfully compiled. 12 lines compiled, and it is asking the first name. Now I'm typing the first name as Smith and the last name as Pereira. When you hit the enter key, the last name will be stored in L name, and the process will start. You will have the output as Netmi Pereira. But here you don't have that space. We normally put the space because we didn't mention that in the statement. We did not put that modification in our statement. So we have to put a space here. Even space, to add the space, you have to tell the computer to add the space. This is how we add the space here. Okay, I will copy this code to our WhatsApp group so you can use it, copy it and use it later. So now I have modified the statement. You can see here the F name equal first name plus space plus L name. So now once I am running it again, so it asks for the first name, input the first name, Heshan Summit, and you have the name as Heshan space Summit. So that's how we handle a program in Pascal. So this program is a simple program. Also, we can recognize this program as a this program as a sequential program, also sequential control structure. Okay, next I'm going to modify this program to input an index number of a student and the name of the student, and then I want to input three different marks. Then I'm going to find the average, English, ICT and Maths marks. Then I'm going to input average, and then after that I'm going to print the index number, name and the average. Okay, so for that we need few variables. As strings we need index number, INO for my easy index number, and then we need the name of the student, STN name. Those are string type variables. Then I need additional variables to store maths and English and ICT marks. So I put them as M1, M2 and M3. So those are integer values. Even we only need one var here, and you can declare any number of any different types of variables under one var command. You only need one var, and you can have multiple. You can declare multiple variables. Even the semicolon of Pascal tells the compiler to the end of the line. The meaning of semicolon is the end of the line. So it checks for the end of the line. It should meet the semicolon here. It ends here and it goes for the next line. So the thing is, sorry. The thing is, here we have M1, M2, and M3 as integers, but the value, the result of average, the average will be a real value, because you have divided by 3, then you won't get an integer. So we have AVG here as a real value. So we have three different types of variables, the three different data types for our variables as a string, integer, and real. So you can have this modified, right? Input your first name, input index number, and then I have to change the variable name as INO, input name. Okay, that is correct, input name, but the variable name is now STNAME, so we are changing our program name as find average, here, find average. So we need to get three additional values. So I'm copy pasting these things. CC for me. Right, input mark 1, first mark, that is M1, read it to M1, and copy it here, paste and paste. So mark 2, read it to mark 2, mark 3, read it to mark 3. So first name, first name, this we don't need this one now. Right, now we need to find the average. AVG colon equal M1 plus M2 plus M3 division 3 subjects, and the average calculated like that. But we have to put a bracket here, because we have to find the total first and then divide the total by 3. Then we can combine the output like this. I need to print the index number of the student. So index number, comma, INO, and comma, the name. I will explain about this code later. Name STNAME, comma, AVG is the value. So we have a combined output, like I'm going to print the same, print all the outputs, like print all the index number and the name and the average. So here I have to find, here I have to write average in a single line or single sentence. Let's see the program again. Here program find average input output. Variables, we have string variables as index numbers, tname, and m1, m2, m3 as integers and average as real. Input index number, read line index number, write input name, read line st name, write input mark 1, mark 2, mark 3, the calculation, the statement of process. The statement to calculate the average value. This is the statement to display the index number. Okay, if you want to display some text, you use these columns, upper columns. Then if you put a comma here, that separates with the variable value. And again you put the comma here, you again separate with the variable. You can put another text value to print. Then comma, variable, comma, another statement, another text to print, comma, should have comma, and the average. So in this way, Pascal recognized this one to display on the screen. After that, display the value of the IN. This one to display on the screen. After that, display the name's value of the screen. This one to display on the screen. After that, display the value of the AVG, variable AVG on the screen. So this is the program. Also, I will put this program in our group. So you can copy the program and run it in your computers in the later time and do modifications. Okay, run. Once I run the program, it is asking input and index number. So 1001 is my index number, and the input name is Heshan, just some made up name. And then input mark 1. The mark 1 is 56, mark 2 is 78, the mark 3 is 90. You have the output like this. The entire thing is the output. Okay? If you have a question to write the output of a program, this entire thing is the output or the display output of the program. All of things you can see on the screen. So these are the outputs, but exact output is this one here. The thing is, you see, it's not much clear. It doesn't have any spaces, so you have to put the spaces here. And also, the average is with the scientific notation or scientific representation. So we have to correct that. So I'm going back to the here. This is the output. I'm going back to the code and check what changes we have to done. I need some space, so I put the space here. I need some space here. I need some space even here, even here, even here, and here colon 0, 2. It's not in your syllabus, but that means to round off the value to 2 decimal places. 0, colon 2. Colon 0, colon 2. That means round off the value to 2 decimal places. So you will get 74.66. Again, same values. 56, 78, 90. Okay. Just run the program again. 1001. You have Heshan Malidu here. 56, 78, 90. 78 and 90. Yeah. Now you got the index number, the space, 1001, space name, space Asian molecule, space average, 74.67. So that's how we format these things. Okay, also I will copy this program into our group, so as a message, so you can have that. Okay. Then I'm going to remove this part. I want to do a simple selection. All of these examples that we discussed belongs to sequential programs. Line by line, line after line, line after line, there's an order. One line after another line after another line. Those are known as sequential control structures. But we have another programming control structure known as selection control structure, which we can use with the condition to check whether pass or fail or to determine grades, something like that. For that, I keep all these things as same, but I will add some code for the if. If AVG is larger than 50, then the right statement is different. Then right line, just say, what's the student's name? Student name, STNAME, comma, student name, pass. Okay. If not, else, if he doesn't got larger than 50, 50 or lesser than 50, I have to write line, student name, comma, not fail, let's say low performance. Low performance. And now we put the semicolon. Just remember, in if blocks or if statements, you can't have semicolon here. You can't have semicolon here. You have to put semicolon here. That represents the end if of the pseudocode. When you write pseudocode, you put end if no. So we don't have anything, any name or reserved word as end if. So we have only semicolon to end a line, but you can't use semicolon here and here because you will put end if in that places. So if average larger than 50, then write this one. If it is correct, it will do that one and reach to end, except this one. And if the condition is incorrect, means false, it doesn't do this one. Instead, it performs the statement in the else section and then reach to end. So let's run this one. Input index number is 1001, and the input name just some name Hesham. Mark 1 is 78, mark 56, and another mark is 45. So get the result as pass here. So that's how we control selection control structure. Also, I will put that program into the group. So that's how we control the selections. In later time, I will discuss more with selections, but I will discuss some concepts related with iterations or looping or repetitions, because most of the times they are asking questions based on repetitions also. Here I am writing a program to print name, print the name candy, print the text candy for 5 times. So it's an output type of program. We are not inputting anything. So we need a variable to count the number of iterations. I'm taking as I. So I'm taking it as integer variable, and I begin the program, end the code here, in the main program here. Now I have I equals 0. I put I colon equals 0, you know the syntax. I colon equals 0 means I'm assigning 0 to the I. Then I use while loops while I less than 5. Do. While I less than 5 do means do this task when the I is less than 5. So 0, 1, 2, 4, you are printing the statements, or you are performing the statements under while. If you have more than 2 statements in Pascal, you have to write another begin and end for the while. So begin and end with semicolon for the while. Okay. So here you have to write line, just the name Candy. But the thing is, we need to increment or increase the iteration variable. So we have to write colon equal I plus 1, because the while loops are not doing it automatically. We have to put it through the code. So the meaning of this is, here you can see the program and the name is print name. Let's say print candy or something like that. Print candy. So here I is the iterative variable. It's declared as an integer value. So here you have begin I equals 0. Then while I less than 5, you can do this segment. The thing is, what you need to realize is when this becomes true, when the I less than 5, the entire segment will perform, and then check the statement again, then check the condition again. So you know, once it goes through this once it goes to this statement, I becomes 1, 2, 3, and 4. It increment the value of the I. So when you run it, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times you can see it is printed. Okay, the next thing is I can change this to print 1 to 10 values. So I will copy this program also to here. So I will change this program name to print 1 to 10. Print 1 to 10. Print 1 to 10. Continuous values. So we have the iteration variable as I. So we have to start I with 1, because we are going to print from 1 to 10. So we have to change this one to 10. But the thing is, 1 to 10 and to okay, here while I less than 10, but we have to put equal here, equal 10, then do, because while I less than or equal 10. Because I have to put equal 10, otherwise it will not print 10 here. So I is 1, so while I less than or equal 10, do, we can't have this one. Instead, we have to put I here. So the value of I will be printed 1 by 1. I will run this program, so you will get the answer as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 9. So these are very basic or simple iteration programs. Also, I will copy this text program text to your group. You can copy it from there, and also I can change this to print 1 to 10 odd values. So the only change that I have to do is put I equal I plus 2. Then run it, and you have the answer as 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Even I can modify the same program to print 1 to 10 even values. So I have to start with 2. So I change I equal 2, and you have to increment by 2. Then you can run it. So you will have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 here. 2, 4, 6, and 8, and 10 here. So that's how you do that kind of iterations. And the thing is, I will copy this one also. And the thing is, we have another few different types of iteration control structures in Pascal, as repeat until and also for do loops. The thing is, I'm not going to explain about repeat until at the moment, because we need to practice a few more examples and go for that session. So I will have another session for iterations. So I will change this one for do loop. We know the end value here, no? The 10 times. So once we know the end value, we can go for the for loops. But the thing is, for loops increment the value itself. So we can't have I equal I plus 1, that incremental statement with the for loops. So to print 1 to 10, you can use a for loop like this. Here in for loops, you use the x value, i's value inside the for loop. So that means I equal 1. The range is 2 to 10. Do. That's how we write for loops. For I equal 1 to 10, do. So I colon equal 1 is the beginning value. So 10 is the ending value. Then do this under this segment. After do, you can write the statements that you want to repeat. So you can write here, write I. When you have this one, you do not put I equal I plus 1 here, because for loops doesn't require that one. So you can run it like this. Then you will get 1, 2, 3. Okay, you get it in this way. The reason for that is I just write right here. Right means it doesn't create a new line after the printing of the variable value. If you use right line, it will print a new line. That's an important point for MCQs also. In MCQs, you will have questions like this with only right. If you only see something like this, you will not get answer like this. Instead, you will get answers without new lines, one after one, not with one line after one line, like this. And also you can put some spaces here. So if you put spaces, you will see the answer with spaces here. Okay, that kind of changes are there, so you have to be careful. So I haven't used the begin and end for this for loop, because if we only have one statement to run after the condition, we can keep it like this. If we have multiple, more than 2 or 3 or more than 2 statements under the for loop or under the while loop, we have to write the begin and end for the for loops or while loops even. So both for loops and while loops, we can use the both loop types, iteration type, control types to use when we know the end of the iteration. But there are some scenarios that we cannot determine the end of the iteration. So in that scenarios, we can only use a while loop or repeat until. We cannot use for loops if we do not know this destination value. If you do not know the end value, you can't use a for loop. So, but if you do not know the end value, you can use a while loop instead of that. So I will design a while loop. You to input some value and print input some value less than 100 and get the total of those values. So that means you do not have a limitation. If you input more than value more than 100, you will be removed from the iteration. So the next program that I am going to discuss is we are going to write a program to input integers. If you input an integer less than 100, it will be okay. It will add to the total and goes on. And if you input 100 or more than 100, the program should stop the iteration. In that way, you don't know the end value, end number of cycles. So in that scenario, we don't know the number of cycles. So I am just typing find or something like that. So I need another variable to input the value here. So num is the variable, I an integer, and even I need another variable to put that to calculate the total here. So what I am going to do is I am going to assign value 0 for the total. Later I will explain the codes also, and I don't need I here because I'm not controlling the number of iterations. I'm controlling the number of iterations based on the value of the num. If the value of the num is less than 100, you go further. If the value of the num is not less than 100, that means larger than 100 or 100, you stop the iteration. So I have to ask the user to input the num because I need the value for I need a value for the num to start. So write line or write, just write. The difference is write doesn't create any new lines, write line creates a new line. So write enter a number. So user will enter a number and we read this number to read line num. Then we put a while loop like this, while num is less than 100, do. What we are going to do, okay. Do. So while number less than 100, do. That means I'm going to add the value of the num to total. So total colon equal total plus num. Okay. And then the thing is to go forward, I have to take another value for the num. So this is to enter to the iteration. Inside the iteration, also I have to use the same statements because Once you entered inside the iteration, you are rotating inside it. You can't go back here. So you have to ask the same question again inside the iteration in order to go inside or to come back from the iteration. So enter a number again. Enter a number again here. Again. Then you are going to enter a number again and again. And once the number is less than 100, you will add it to total and ask for another number. Once you enter 100 or more than 100, you will be removed from the iteration. Then we write the total. Write line total equal the total equal as total. So let's see if the program is working without any errors. Okay, I will compile this program in order to ensure that it is not having any syntax errors. Then I will explain further. Okay, run. Compilation failed because of following errors. Yes, there are some errors. Expected. Here I have missed to put the semicolon. We need that. Okay, now it is compiled and it is asking a number. I will enter 67. If I enter 67, it will check that value and it should ask another value. It should ask another value. It's not asking. Just give me a minute. Okay. When I input a value, write enter a number num, while num less than 100, do like this. Okay, the code is correct. Okay, let's say enter a number. Let's say 10. Enter a number. The number is 10. It's not asking the other way. Let's see what happened here. Begin total equals 0. While number is less than 100, we add the number to the total. Then we write line, enter the number again. Then we read it again. Right. Okay. Here we have a problem because I didn't put the begin here. Because we need to that's the problem. Because there are many more statements than single statement inside this while loop. So we have to put begin and end. Someone has the microphone turned on. Okay. I'll run it again. Enter a number. 89. It is asking enter a number again. I will enter 1, so it will be 90. Then I will enter 100. So this time the answer is 90 and the iteration cycles are 3. So just think you can't determine how many iterations it will go because it depends on the value that I input. If I input 100 at the first time, it doesn't go any further. It will show the total as 0. And if I run it again, and even I can run the program for many iterations, 56, 34, 67, 90. Even the program runs until I type 100 or more than 100, 120. Now the program will stop. Total is y05. So this program doesn't have it's an iteration, but it doesn't have a end value. It doesn't have an end value, but it has a. It also has a it also has a iteration. It shows the iteration. So here we missed to put the begin and end for the while loop, because we have three statements inside the while. So we have to put begin and end for this one. So we can't use for loops to fulfill this requirement, because we do not know the number of the cycles. We do not know the number of cycles, so we can't have that for loops to implement such kind of applications. And I saw we had a question in our last this paper discussion, to print some stars. No? Question number 27, as I remember. Yeah. In here, question number 27, you had x equals 0, do display star x plus 2 while x less than 5. Let's see, implement this one. If I implement this one, here I need x. I need x as integer. Program name, we can put the program name as star. Okay. So at the beginning, x is 0, x colon equals 0, and then while if x less than 5, do. If x less than 5, do. What we have to do is begin. We need another end here. What we have to do is right line star. Strict එකක් දාන්න තියෙනවා. Star වාක්‍යයක් print කරන්න තියෙන කියලා. Then you have to add or increment the value of x by 2. Then you have to increment the value of x by 2 and then run. This is the Pascal program for that. And then run. You will have 3 stars here. But we remembered that in our exam paper, we didn't have exam paper. We do not have that answer 2, 4, 5, and 6. So I say that they put the question as all correct question. So everyone got the answers. So sometimes for this kind of things, if you are not getting the correct answer, you just don't waste too much of time on those questions. Okay, maybe the question is wrong. Not always, but sometimes there's a possibility for that also. So I took that 2007, sorry, O-level, MCQ 27. So the thing is, you can even try questions with Pascal. You have different papers, you have different questions in those papers, and you can try these questions with your papers. Then you can have a good idea on these things. The self-practicing is the most important thing. So you can also use this online Pascal compiler. I have copied the link to your group also. Okay, I will discuss the repeat and until in the next week, and also a bit more about for loops. So what you need to do is refer to your pseudocodes and flowchart exercises that we did in our classes, and then I will explain further with these Pascal related questions. Even you can develop a program to get few marks from the students and put those marks inside an array. Then you can use that array to take or calculate the average of that marks. I will explain or I will teach about arrays in a late time. I have to do that late time because otherwise everything will be mixed up. I will do another example to input 10 different 10 different subject marks and find the largest mark. Oh, no, I will do that example later. Find the total of that total of average total. Let's calculate the total of the 10 marks per student. So program find total. It's a input output type application because we input and we also have output. Input output, and we need variables. We need a variable to put marks. It will be an integer. And also we need a variable to find the total. It's also integer because marks are integer. And also we need a variable for the x is for the iteration for 10 times. X, those are integer type variables. Then the main program begins and end full stop. Here I am going to write x colon equal 0. So I assign the value 0 to the x at the beginning when I write while loop, while x less than 10, because because x is 10 loop. Because the x is 0, from 0 to 9, I get 10 times. While x less than 10 do, we also need a begin and end here, because for this end you put only semicolons like this. Do not use end for this end. This for begin and end belongs to the while, because we have more than one statement under the while. That's why we use that one. Okay, so begin and end. Inside that I am writing write enter marks. Okay, enter marks. Then you enter the marks, semicolon. Then you have to read line it to variable m. Then tot colon equal tot plus m. Or even I have to put assign the value for tot as 0, because we are calculating, we are adding our marks, we are adding the input values to the tot, so tot should be 0 or empty variable like this, plus m. Then it will goes like that. I have to write a variable incremental variable statement like this. And this should be colon equal. So once finished, I can write line. After the end, I can write line total. Total equal tot and semicolon. So this is the program. Let's run it. Enter the marks. It asks for the marks 45 and 34 and 78, 90, 34, 56, another set of marks. And 45, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Total is 530, 573. So here, if I describe the program, you have the program name. Even you can put it as commented, because it is not compulsory. From here to here, these are the compulsory parts. And you can see after the begin, I have to put or assign 0 to the dot, because we are going to add the marks values to dot. And you have put x equals 0. Even you can change it to x equal 1. If you change it to x equal 1, to ensure that the iteration happens 10 times, you have to put less than equal, then it is okay. So x equal 1, x less than or equal 10, do. What you are doing is this segment. This is the repetition segment. Once in a repetition, all these things one by one executed. Then it checks for the value of x again. If it is 2, all of this one by one executed. Then what is executing is, first it is asking marks, then it is assigning that marks to a variable m and adding that value to total. So then it increment the value x by 1. Again, if it is true, ask for another mark, then the previous marks will be replaced with new marks. So this kind of scenarios, we can use an array to store these 10 values. In the later time, the next session, I will describe how to use an array, how to use arrays to store these kind of values. I put this question also into your group. Then you will see, if I run the program again, and input marks for 10 times. The total is 566.